The stars looked different out here. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Aurora Dawn, watching the endless black space through the main window. They had been traveling for 6 months, farther from Earth than any human had ever gone before. The ship hummed quietly as it moved through the void. "Captain, we have something on the sensors," said Lieutenant Sam Walker from his station. His voice was calm, but Jake could hear the excitement underneath. Finding anything out here was rare. Most of space was empty. Jake walked over to look at the screen. A small dot appeared on the display, glowing softly against the dark background. "What is it?" "Looks like a ship, sir. But it's not moving. No power readings either." Dr. Amanda Hayes looked up from her research table. She was the ship's expert on alien life, though they had not found any yet. Her dark hair was pulled back and her eyes were bright with curiosity. "How big is it?" Sam typed on his keyboard. Numbers appeared on the screen. "About twice the size of our ship. The metal is nothing we have seen before." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This could be it. The first proof that humans were not alone in the universe. "Lisa, get your team ready. We are going to take a look." Lisa Chung, the security chief, nodded. She was a small woman, but Jake knew she was tougher than most men twice her size. "How many people do you want on the team?" "Take 4 of your best." "Amanda, you are coming too. We need someone who knows what to look for." Amanda was already putting on her spacesuit. "I have been waiting for this my whole life." 2 hours later, the small shuttle left the Aurora Dawn and flew toward the strange ship. Jake sat in the pilot seat with Amanda beside him. Lisa and her team sat in the back, checking their weapons and equipment. As they got closer, the ship looked even stranger. It was long and curved like a giant ice crystal. Its surface was smooth and seemed to glow with a soft blue light. There were no windows or doors that they could see. "I have never seen anything like this," Amanda whispered. "The shape is beautiful, but also strange." They found an opening near the bottom of the ship. It was perfectly round, just big enough for their shuttle to fit through. Jake flew inside carefully, his hands steady on the controls. Inside the ship, everything was frozen. The walls were covered with ice that never melted. Strange machines sat silent, covered in frost. The air was so cold they could see their breath, even inside their heated suits. "Temperature is minus 40 degrees, Lisa reported. "That is cold, but not deadly for us." They walked through the halls of the alien ship. Their boots made loud sounds on the icy floor. Everything looked like it had been frozen in an instant. Alien creatures sat at control panels, their bodies turned to ice statues. "Look at this," Amanda called from across the room. She was standing next to what looked like a chair, but the creature sitting in it was unlike anything from Earth. It had long arms and legs with skin that looked like blue glass. Its eyes were wide open, staring at nothing. "How long have they been dead?" Jake asked. Amanda took out her scanner and pointed it at the frozen creature. "Hard to say. Could be 100 years, could be 1,000. The cold has kept everything perfect." They found more bodies as they explored. All of them were frozen solid. All of them looked afraid. Some were running. Others were reaching out as if asking for help. It was like looking at the moment when everyone died at the same time. "Captain, you need to see this," Lisa called from another room. Jake and Amanda hurried to find her. Lisa was standing in front of a large wall covered with symbols and pictures. The symbols glowed with a faint light, and some of them moved like they were alive. Amanda pulled out her translation device. It was new technology that could learn any language given enough time. She pointed it at the wall and waited. "It is learning," she said. "This might take a few minutes." While they waited, Jake looked around the room. It was bigger than the others, with a high ceiling and strange machines along the walls. In the center was a large table with more frozen creatures around it. They all looked like they had been having a meeting when death came. The translation device beeped. Amanda looked at the screen and her face went pale. "What does it say?" Jake asked. "It is a warning," she said slowly. "It says, beware the Frostwalker. She brings death with her touch. We tried to help her, but now we are all dead. She sleeps in the deep chamber, but if she wakes, run. Run as far as you can." Lisa put her hand on her weapon. Should we get out of here? Amanda shook her head. Wait. There is more. She read from the device. It says, she is not evil. She is cursed. Her name is Kira, and she is the last of her people. Everything she touches turns to ice. She cannot control it. She has been searching for a way to die, but death will not take her. Jake felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold air. Where is this deep chamber? Amanda looked at the wall again. More symbols appeared, showing a map of the ship, down 3 levels in the center of the ship. We should leave, Lisa said. This sounds too dangerous. But Amanda was already walking toward the door. We cannot leave. Do you understand what this means? We have found an alien being that is still alive. She might be sleeping, but she is alive. This is the greatest discovery in human history. Jake knew she was right, but he also knew the danger. If she wakes up, we could all die. Then we will. Be very careful, Amanda said. But we have to try. We came out here to find life and we found it. They made their way deeper into the ship. The ice got thicker as they went down, and the temperature dropped even more. Their suits worked harder to keep them warm. The halls were darker too, lit only by the strange blue glow from the walls. On the 3rd level, they found the chamber. The door was huge, made of the same crystal-like material as the rest of the ship. Symbols covered every inch of it, and they pulsed with light like a heartbeat. The door is locked, Lisa said, running her hands over the surface. But look at this. She pointed to a small panel next to the door. It looks like it needs a handprint. Amanda studied the panel. The creatures on this ship have 4 fingers. Not 5 like us, but maybe it will work anyway. She pressed her hand against the panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the symbols on the door began to glow brighter. There was a deep rumbling sound, and the door began to open. Cold air rushed out of the chamber, so cold that ice formed on their suits instantly. Through the opening, they could see a figure lying on a table in the center of the room. Even from a distance, they could tell it was different from the other creatures they had found. She looks almost human, Jake whispered. The figure on the table was tall and thin with long hair that looked like spun glass. Her skin was pale blue, and it seemed to glow with its own light. She was beautiful but also frightening. Ice covered everything around her, and the air itself seemed to freeze near her body. Is she breathing? Lisa asked. Amanda checked her scanner. I cannot tell, but there are signs of life. Very faint, but they are there. As they watched, the figure on the table moved slightly. Her fingers twitched, and her head turned toward them. Slowly, her eyes opened. They were the color of winter sky, pale and cold. Kira was waking up. Amanda stepped forward, her heart pounding with excitement and fear. Hello, she said softly. Can you understand me? Kira sat up on the table, moving like someone who had been asleep for a very long time. She looked at the 3 humans standing before her, and her eyes filled with sadness. You should not have... Come here, she said, her voice like wind through ice. I will kill you all just like I killed them. Kira stood up from the table, and the temperature in the room dropped even more. Ice began forming on the walls faster now, and their breath came out in thick white clouds. Jake felt the cold, trying to get through his suit, but the heating systems were still working. Stay back, Kira said, taking a step away from them. I do not want to hurt you, but I cannot control it. Everyone I touch dies. Amanda held up her hands to show she meant no harm. We are not here to hurt you. We found your ship and wanted to help. Kira looked at the 3 humans with surprise. You are not like the others. What are you? We are humans, Jake said. We come from a planet called Earth. We have been traveling through space, looking for other life. Humans, Kira repeated, the word slowly. I have never heard of your kind before, but you should leave now before it is too late. Lisa stepped forward, but not too close. What happened to the others on this ship? The ones who are frozen? Kira's eyes filled with pain. They found me floating in space, dying. They brought me onto their ship and tried to save me. But when I woke up, my curse had grown stronger. I touched the first person who tried to help me, and he froze solid in seconds. Then others came to help him, and they died too. She walked to the other side of the room, staying as far from the humans as possible. I tried to warn them, but they did not understand. They thought they could cure me with their medicine. One by one, they all died. I killed an entire ship of people who only wanted to help. Amanda felt tears in her eyes. How long have you been alone? Time has no meaning when you are cursed, Kira said. I put myself into deep sleep, hoping I would never wake up. But here you are, and I am awake again. Jake activated his communication device. Aurora Dawn, this is the captain. We need to report our findings. The voice of Lieutenant Walker came through clearly. Go ahead, Captain. We have found a survivor on the alien ship. She is alive but dangerous. Send a message to Earth Command. Immediately. Tell them we have made first contact. First contact? Walker sounded excited. Should we prepare a welcome party? No, Jake said quickly. Tell everyone to stay on the ship. Do not come over here under any circumstances. Kira listened to their conversation with growing alarm. You have more people on your ship? You must warn them. If I lose control, I could kill them all. We will be careful, Amanda promised. But we cannot just leave you here alone. Maybe we can find a way to help you. Help me? Kira laughed. But it was a sad sound. My own people tried to help me. The greatest scientists in the galaxy have tried to help me. No one can fix what is wrong with me. Amanda pulled out her medical scanner and pointed it at Kira from a safe distance. Can you tell us about your people? What happened to them? Kira sat down on the floor, still keeping far away from the humans. We were called the Cryonians. We lived on a world of ice and snow, and we could control the cold. It was our gift. We used it to build cities, to preserve food, to travel through space without needing much power. She held up her hand, and ice crystals formed in the air around her fingers. But I was different. Even as a child, I was too strong. I could not control my power like the others. When I got scared or angry, everything around me would freeze. What happened to your world? Jake asked gently. There was an accident, Kira said, her voice barely above a whisper. I was young and frightened. A group of children were teasing me, calling me names. I got angry and my power exploded outward. It covered the entire city in ice. Millions of people died in seconds, including my own family. The three humans stood in shocked silence. They could not imagine carrying such guilt. After that, I ran. Away! Kira continued. I lived alone in the wilderness, but even there I was dangerous. Animals died when they came too close. Plants withered and froze. The very ground beneath my feet turned to ice. Amanda's scanner beeped. She looked at the readings with growing excitement. Kira, your body temperature is far below what should be possible for any living thing. How are you still alive? I do not know, Kira said. I have tried to die many times, but death will not take me. I have thrown myself into stars, but the fire just goes out when I touch it. I have jumped into black holes, but they spit me back out. I am cursed to live forever, bringing death wherever I go. Jake felt a chill of fear. If Kira was telling the truth, she was the most dangerous being in the universe. But looking at her, he saw only sadness and loneliness. There must be something we can do, he said. Some way to help you control your power. Kira shook her head. I have been searching for thousands of years. I have visited every world, talked to every wise person, studied every ancient text. There is no cure for what I am. Amanda was still studying her scanner readings. Something was strange about the data. Kira, have you ever tried to touch a human before? No, you are the first humans I have ever met, but it will be the same as with all the others. You will die if you get too close. Maybe not, Amanda said thoughtfully. Humans are different from other species. We evolved on a world with extreme temperatures. We can survive in very hot and very cold places. Lisa looked at her with concern. Amanda, what are you thinking? I am thinking that maybe humans are different enough that we might be able to survive Kira's touch for a short time. Long enough to help her. Kira stood up quickly. No, you must not try it. I will not have more deaths on my conscience. I have killed enough people already. But Amanda was already thinking about the possibilities. What if we could find a way to absorb some of your cold energy, or redirect it somehow? It is too dangerous, Jake said firmly. We are not going to risk anyone's life on a theory. Their conversation was interrupted by a loud beeping from Jake's communication device. Lieutenant Walker's voice came through sounding urgent. Captain, we have a problem. Long-range sensors are picking up multiple ships heading our way. They look like military vessels. Jake felt his stomach drop. How many ships? At least 20. Sir, they are flying in formation and moving fast. They will be here in about 6 hours. Amanda looked at Kira with worry. Do you know who they might be? Kira's face went pale. The Galactic Council. They have found me again. Who is the Galactic Council? Lisa asked. They are a group of the most powerful alien races in the galaxy, Kira explained. They have been hunting me for centuries. Whenever I am discovered, they come to destroy me. Jake activated his communicator again. Walker, prepare the ship to leave immediately. We need to get out of here. What about the alien ship, sir? And the survivor? Jake looked at Kira, who was shaking her head sadly. You cannot take me with you, she said. I will kill everyone on your ship. And even if I did not, the Council would destroy your ship to get to me. You must leave me here and run. We are not leaving you, Amanda said firmly. There has to be another way. Kira walked to a wall panel and pressed her hand against it. Immediately, the wall screen lit up with images of approaching ships. They were huge, covered with weapons, and moving in perfect formation. Those are Thermidian battlecruisers, Kira said. They are beings of pure energy, and they think they can contain me with their heat weapons. They have tried before. What happened? Jake asked. I froze their energy, Kira said simply. Turned their ships into blocks of ice floating in space. But they always come back with more ships and bigger weapons. Amanda was thinking fast. What if we do not run? What if we try to communicate with them? Tell them we are protecting you? Kira laughed bitterly. They do not care about protecting anyone. They see me as a threat that must be eliminated. They will kill you just for being near me. The communication device beeped again. Captain, the alien ships are sending a message. They want to talk to you. Jake looked at his team and then at Kira. Put them through. A new voice came through the communicator, speaking in perfect English. Human vessel, this is Admiral Zeth of the Thermidian Empire. You have encountered a Class X threat. Remove your people from that ship immediately and prepare to withdraw to a safe distance. Jake pressed the button to respond. Admiral, we are on a peaceful mission. We have made contact with a survivor who needs help. The being you have found is not a survivor, Admiral Zeth replied coldly. She is a killer who has destroyed countless worlds. Step away from her now, or we will consider you enemies of the Council. Kira touched the wall panel again, and her voice was broadcast through the communication system. I am here, Zeth. Leave the humans alone. They have done nothing wrong. There was silence for several seconds. Then Admiral Zeth spoke again, his voice filled with anger. Kira the Destroyer, we have been searching for you for 50 years. This time we will not let you escape. I am not running, Kira said calmly. I am tired of running. Do what you came to do. Amanda grabbed Jake's arm. We cannot let them kill her. She is not evil. She is just cursed. There has to be a way to save her. Jake looked at the approaching ships on the screen. They had 6 hours before the Council arrived. 6 hours to find a solution that had eluded the galaxy's greatest minds for thousands of years. Amanda, start working on those scanner readings, he said. Lisa, get back to the ship and prepare our defenses. I know they are not much against those battle cruisers, but we have to try something. Kira watched them with amazement. Why are you doing this? You barely know me. Why would you risk your lives for someone like me? Lisa ran back to the Aurora Dawn as fast as she could. Her boots echoed in the empty halls of the alien ship as she hurried to the shuttle. Behind her, she could hear Jake and Amanda still talking to Kira, trying to learn more about her curse. When Lisa reached their ship, she found the crew in a state of panic. Lieutenant Walker was at his station, watching the approaching fleet on his screens. The other crew members were running around, preparing weapons and shields that everyone knew would be useless against 20 battlecruisers. "How much time do we have?" Lisa asked Walker. 5 hours and 30 minutes, he replied. "The ships are slowing down, probably to get into attack formation." Lisa activated the ship's communication system. "All crew members, this is Security Chief Chang. Report to the main meeting room immediately. We have a situation." Within minutes, the entire crew of the Aurora Dawn was gathered together. There were only 15 people on the ship, all chosen for their skills and bravery. But none of them had ever faced anything like this. "We have made contact with an alien being," Lisa began. "Her name is Kira, and she has a curse that kills everything she touches. A military fleet is coming to destroy her, and they might destroy us too if we do not leave." Engineer Sophie Turner raised her hand. "Why do we not just leave? It sounds like the smart thing to do." "Because Captain Morrison believes we should help her," Lisa said. "And because she might be the key to understanding alien technology that could benefit all of humanity." Dr. Pete Williams, the ship's medical officer, looked worried. "If she kills everything she touches, how can we possibly help her?" "That is what Dr. Hayes is trying to figure out," Lisa replied. "But we need to be ready for anything. The alien fleet will be here in 5 hours, and they have enough firepower to destroy this entire solar system." Back on the alien ship, Amanda was studying her scanner readings while Jake kept watch. Kira sat on the other side of the room, as far away from them as possible. "The energy readings are incredible," Amanda said. "Kira, your body is absorbing heat from everything around you. But where does that energy go?" Kira looked at her with surprise. "No one has ever asked me that before. They only care about stopping the freezing, not understanding it." "Well, energy cannot just disappear," Amanda said. "It has to go somewhere. Are you storing it somehow?" Kira thought for a moment. "I do not feel cold, even though everything around me freezes. Maybe the energy goes inside me somehow." Amanda's eyes lit up with excitement. "What if we could find a way to redirect that energy? Instead of it freezing everything around you, we could channel it into something else." "Like what?" Jake asked. "I do not know yet. But maybe into a machine or into the ship itself, something that could handle large amounts of energy without being destroyed." Kira shook her head sadly. "Many people have tried similar ideas. They all failed, and they all died. But none of them were human," Amanda pointed out. "We might be different enough to make it work." Their conversation was interrupted by Jake's communicator. "Captain, this is Admiral Zeth. We are prepared to negotiate." Jake pressed the response button. "We are listening, Admiral. You will hand over the destroyer immediately. In return, we will allow your ship to leave safely. You have 1 hour to decide." "And if we refuse?" Jake asked. "Then we will destroy you along with her. The choice is yours, human." The communication ended, leaving them in silence. Kira looked at Jake with gratitude and sadness. "You should take their offer," she said. "I have lived with this curse for thousands of years. I can live with it longer. But you and your people should not die because of me." Jake shook his head. "We do not abandon people who need help. That is not the human way." Amanda was still working with her scanner, taking readings from different parts of the room. "Jake, I think I am onto something. The ice that Kira creates is not normal ice. It has properties I have never seen before." She pointed her scanner at a wall covered with Kira's ice. "This ice is absorbing energy from the ship's power systems. It is like a giant battery, storing power instead of just freezing things." "What does that mean?" Kira asked. "It means your curse might not be a curse at all," Amanda said excitedly. "It might be a form of energy conversion. You are not just freezing things, you are turning heat energy into something else." Jake felt a spark of hope. Could we use that somehow? Maybe. If we could build a device that could handle the energy conversion, we might be able to control where it goes instead of letting it freeze everything randomly. Kira stood up, and ice crystals formed around her feet. Even if that were possible, who would be brave enough to test it? One mistake, and they would die instantly. Amanda and Jake looked at each other. They both knew the answer, but neither wanted to say it. Back on the Aurora Dawn, Lisa was organizing the crew into teams. Some would work on shields, others on weapons, and a few would prepare the ship to run if needed. But everyone knew their chances were slim. "Chief Chang," called Engineer Turner, "I have been thinking about what you said about the alien having power over cold and ice." "What about it?" Lisa asked. "Well, our ship has thermal systems all through it. Heating, cooling, power conversion. What if we could use those systems somehow?" Lisa looked interested. "Keep talking." "If this alien can control cold energy, maybe we could channel that energy through our ship's systems, use it to power our shields or weapons." Dr. Williams overheard them talking. "That sounds incredibly dangerous. If something went wrong, we could all freeze to death." "We might freeze to death anyway when those battle cruisers start shooting," Turner pointed out. Lisa activated her communicator. "Captain, we might have an idea over here. Engineer Turner thinks we could use the ship's thermal systems to work with Kira's power somehow." Jake's voice came back immediately. "Explain." Turner took the communicator. "Sir, if Kira's power converts heat into some other form of energy, we might be able to channel that energy through our ship's systems. It could give us enough power to fight back against the Council fleet." There was silence for several seconds. Then Amanda's voice came through. "That might actually work. If we could build a connection between Kira and the ship's power core, we could use her energy conversion ability to supercharge our systems. But someone would have to make physical contact with Kira to create the connection," Jake said. "And we know what happens to anyone who touches her." "Not necessarily," Amanda replied. "If we could create a buffer system, something that could absorb the initial energy burst without being destroyed, a person might be able to survive long enough to make the connection." Kira's voice came through the communicator, sounding frightened. "No, I will not let anyone risk their life for me. I have killed too many people already." "Kira," Jake said gently, "we are not asking you to kill anyone. We are asking you to help us save everyone. What if it does not work? What if the person dies anyway? Then we will have tried," Jake said simply. "That is all anyone can do." Admiral Zeth's voice suddenly broke into their conversation. "Your time is running out, humans. We will begin our attack in 30 minutes. This is your final warning." Lisa looked at her watch. The Council fleet was close enough now that she could see them through the ship's windows. 20 massive battle cruisers, each one larger than a city, all aimed at their small research vessel. "Captain," she said into her communicator, "we need to make a decision now. Do we run or do we fight?" Jake looked at Amanda, who was still taking readings with her scanner. Then he looked at Kira, who was watching them with amazement and fear. "Amanda, how long would you need to build this buffer system?" 20 minutes, maybe less if everyone helps." "And how long would someone need to maintain contact with Kira to make it work?" Amanda hesitated. "Probably 30 seconds, maybe a minute." Jake felt his heart pounding. 30 seconds might not sound like a long time, but 30 seconds of contact with something that killed instantly was an eternity. "Who would volunteer for something like that?" Kira asked quietly. Jake looked at her steadily. "A human would. We do not give up even when the odds are impossible." On the Aurora Dawn, Lisa was watching the approaching fleet through binoculars. The ships were enormous, covered with weapons, and glowing with energy. But something else caught her attention. "Captain," she said into her communicator, "I think they are preparing to fire some kind of special weapon. There is a ship in the center of their formation that looks different from the others." Jake's blood ran cold. "What kind of weapon? I do not know, but it is big, and it is aimed directly at us." Admiral Zeth's voice came through the communication system one last time. "Humans, you have chosen your fate. We will now demonstrate why the Council has survived for 10,000 years. Prepare to witness the power of a star killer." Amanda dropped her scanner. A star killer? They are going to destroy the entire solar system just to kill Kira? That is impossible, Jake said. They would not destroy an entire star system. You do not know the Council, Kira said quietly. They have done it before. They destroyed my homeworld the same way, after I left it. They will do anything to stop me. Jake realized they were out of time. The Council was not just planning to kill Kira or destroy their ship. They were planning to wipe out everything within 1 billion miles just to make sure Kira could not escape. Jake felt like he was dying. The cold from Kira's power flowed through the metal rod and into his body like liquid ice. His heart was beating so slowly he thought it might stop. Ice covered his suit, and his breath came out in short, painful gasps, but he was still alive. Jake, your body temperature is dropping fast, Amanda said, reading her scanner with alarm. You need to let go of the rod. Not yet, Jake said through frozen lips. How much power are we generating? Amanda looked at her equipment readings. More than our ship can handle. We are producing enough energy to power a small city. Through his communicator, Jake could hear chaos on the Aurora Dawn. Lisa's voice came through clearly. Captain, our shields are at 300% power. Our weapon systems are overloading. We have never seen anything like this. Kira watched Jake with wonder and fear. You should be dead. How are you still alive? Humans do not give up easily, Jake managed to say. We survive things that kill other species. Admiral Zeth's voice cut through their communications. Impossible. Our sensors show that someone is in direct contact with the destroyer. That cannot be happening. Believe it, Admiral, Amanda said into her communicator. Humans are full of surprises. The Starkiller weapon was almost fully charged now. Through the ship's windows they could see it glowing like a small sun. The weapon was designed to make stars explode, destroying entire solar systems. It was the Council's ultimate weapon, used only when they wanted to wipe something completely out of existence. Admiral Zeth, Jake said, his voice weak but determined. Call off your weapon. We can prove that Kira is not the monster you think she is. The decision has been made, Admiral Zeth replied coldly. The Starkiller will fire in 60 seconds. You have that long to say goodbye to your species. Jake looked at Amanda. Can we use this power somehow? Fight back? Amanda was working frantically with her equipment. I am trying to figure out how to direct the energy, but I have never seen anything like this before. Kira suddenly stepped closer to Jake, careful not to break the connection through the metal rod. There might be a way. My people had legends about something called the Heart of Cryonis. It was supposed to be able to control our power. What is the Heart of Cryonis? Amanda asked. A crystal that could store and direct cold energy. But it was lost when my world was destroyed. I always thought it was just a story. Jake felt hope growing in his frozen chest. What if it was not just a story? What if we could find it? Even if it exists, we do not have time to search the galaxy for it, Amanda pointed out. But Kira was thinking hard. Wait. The ship we are on belonged to explorers from the Arcturus system. They were searching for ancient artifacts. What if they found the heart before they found me? Amanda's eyes went wide. The artifacts room. I saw it when we first explored the ship. There were strange crystals in there. 30 seconds until the Starkiller fires, Admiral Zeth announced. Jake made a decision that could have killed him. Instead of letting go of the metal rod, he gripped it tighter. Amanda, go find that crystal. I will hold the connection. Jake, you cannot survive much longer at this temperature, Amanda protested. I can survive long enough, Jake said. Go, now. Amanda ran from the room, leaving Jake alone with Kira. The cold was so intense now that ice was forming on the walls around them. Jake's body was shaking uncontrollably and he could barely feel his hands. Why are you doing this? Kira asked. You could let go and save yourself. Because that is not who we are, Jake said. Humans protect people who need help, even if it costs us everything. On the Aurora Dawn, Lisa was watching the Starkiller weapon reach full charge. All crew members prepare for impact, she announced. This might be the end. But Engineer Turner was studying the power readings from Jake's connection to Kira. "Chief Chang, look at this. The energy we are getting from the captain is incredible. What if we could use it as a weapon? Against 20 battle cruisers?" Lisa asked. "No, against the Starkiller itself. If we could overload their weapon with our own energy, maybe we could make it backfire." Dr. Williams overheard them. "That sounds incredibly dangerous. We could destroy ourselves along with them." "We are going to be destroyed anyway in 10 seconds, Turner pointed out. Lisa made a quick decision. "Do it. Channel all the power from Jake's connection into our main weapon systems. Aim everything at the Starkiller." Amanda ran through the frozen halls of the alien ship, searching for the artifacts room. Her breath came out in thick clouds, and ice crunched under her feet. She could hear Admiral Zeth counting down over the communication system. 10 seconds until Starkiller fires. She found the artifacts room and burst through the door. Inside were dozens of strange objects from different worlds. Crystals, metals, devices she could not identify. But in the center of the room, glowing, with its own light, was a crystal unlike any of the others. 9 seconds. The crystal was about the size of her fist, perfectly clear, but filled with swirling blue energy. The moment she saw it, she knew it was the heart of Cryonis. 8 seconds. She grabbed the crystal and ran back toward Jake and Kira. The crystal felt warm in her hands, which was strange considering everything else on the ship was frozen. 7 seconds. Back in the chamber, Jake was barely conscious. His body temperature had dropped so low that his heart was beating only once every few seconds. But he was still holding onto the metal rod, still channeling Kira's power. 6 seconds. Amanda burst into the room. "I found it," she shouted. "I found the heart of Cryonis." 5 seconds. Kira looked at the crystal with amazement. "That is it. That is really it. But how do we use it?" 4 seconds. Amanda looked at Jake, who was barely alive, and at Kira, who had been cursed for thousands of years. "Together," she said. "All three of us touching the crystal at the same time." 3 seconds. "But if we are wrong, we will all die," Kira said. 2 seconds. Jake managed to speak, his voice barely a whisper. "Better to die trying than to die doing nothing." 1 second. Amanda pressed the heart of Cryonis against the metal rod that connected Jake and Kira. The moment the crystal touched the rod, everything changed. The Starkiller weapon fired. But instead of destroying the solar system, something impossible happened. The crystal began absorbing the weapon's energy, channeling it through Jake and into Kira. For the first time in her life, instead of giving off cold energy, Kira was receiving warm energy. The balance that had been missing from her power for thousands of years was suddenly restored. Jake felt warmth flowing back into his body. His heart began beating normally again. The ice on his suit melted away. He was not just surviving the connection to Kira anymore. He was thriving from it. Kira gasped as she felt control over her power for the first time since childhood. The curse that had tormented her for millennia was not disappearing, but it was being balanced. Cold and warm, ice and fire, death and life, all flowing together in perfect harmony. The Starkiller weapon, designed to destroy anything it touched, was being absorbed and redirected. Its energy flowed through the heart of Cryonis, through Jake, through Kira, and out into space as something completely different. Where the weapon's energy should have created destruction, it created beauty instead. Ice crystals formed in space, but they were not the deadly ice of Kira's curse. They were perfect, beautiful, alive with energy that helped instead of harmed. Admiral Zeth watched in shock as his ultimate weapon was not just stopped, but transformed into something that made the empty space around them bloom with life. "Impossible," he whispered. "The Starkiller has never failed before." On the Aurora Dawn, the crew watched in amazement as the deadly energy from the Starkiller was turned into something wonderful. The space around their ship filled with glowing ice crystals that gave off their own light and warmth. "Jake," Amanda said softly, "how do you feel?" Jake looked at his hands, which were no longer frozen. He looked at Kira, who was smiling for the first time in thousands of years. He looked at the heart of Cryonis, which was glowing with gentle light. "I feel perfect," he said. "Like this is how it was always supposed to be." Kira could not believe what was happening. "I can control it. I can actually control my power. The crystal is balancing the energy and Jake is helping me direct it." "The connection is stable," Amanda reported, reading her scanner. "Jake's body temperature is normal. Kira's power is under control, and we are generating enough energy to power our entire ship without any danger." Admiral Zeth's voice came through their communicator, sounding confused and angry. "What have you done? How did you stop the Star Killer?" Jake picked up the communicator, his voice strong and confident again. "We did what humans do best, Admiral. We found a way to turn something destructive into something helpful." "This changes nothing," Admiral Zeth said. "The destroyer is still a threat. We will not let her live." But Kira spoke into the communicator, her voice calm and peaceful. I'm not the destroyer anymore, Admiral. I am Kira of the Cryonians, and I have found balance at last. The human Jake has given me something I thought was lost forever. Control." Admiral Zeth was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke again, his voice uncertain. "Prove it. Show us that you are not a threat." Kira looked at Jake and Amanda. "Are you ready to change the galaxy?" Jake squeezed her hand through the metal rod. "We are ready." Admiral Zeth stared at his screens in disbelief. His sensors showed that the Star Killer weapon had been completely absorbed. The energy that should have destroyed an entire solar system was now creating beautiful ice crystals that glowed with their own light. It was impossible, but it was happening right before his eyes. "All ships, hold your positions," he ordered his fleet. "Do not fire until I give the command." On the alien ship, Jake felt strength returning to his body. The heart of Cryonis continued to pulse with gentle light, balancing Kira's power and allowing him to maintain contact without dying. For the first time since they had met her, Kira looked peaceful. "I can feel my ancestors," Kira said softly. "The heart is not just a crystal. It carries the knowledge and wisdom of all the Cryonians who came before me." Amanda was recording everything with her scanner. "What are they telling you?" "That my curse was never really a curse," Kira replied. "It was a test. My people knew that someday someone would need the power I carry. But that power could only be controlled by someone willing to endure it without fear." She looked at Jake with gratitude. "Humans are the first species brave enough and strong enough to make that connection. You did not just survive my touch, Jake, you embraced it." Through the communication system, Admiral Zeth's voice was tense. "Destroyer, you will submit to Council authority immediately. We have 20 battle cruisers aimed at your location." "My name is Kira," she replied calmly, "and I am not your enemy anymore. Watch." Kira reached out with her power, but now it was balanced and controlled. Instead of deadly ice, she created something wonderful. Streams of glowing energy flowed from the alien ship toward the Council fleet. When the energy touched their ships, instead of freezing them, it began repairing damage and improving their systems. "What are you doing to our ships?" Admiral Zeth demanded. "I am healing them," Kira said. "Your ships have been damaged by long travel through space. I am fixing that damage and making them stronger." On the Thermidian command ship, Admiral Zeth watched his engineers report that their systems were running better than they had in years. Hull damage was disappearing. Energy cores were running more efficiently. It was as if the ships were being rebuilt from the inside out. "This is some kind of trick," Admiral Zeth said, but his voice was uncertain. Jake spoke into the communicator. "Admiral, your Star Killer weapon tried to destroy us, and we turned it into something that helped everyone. Kira could have used that power to destroy your entire fleet, but instead she is making your ships better. Does that sound like the actions of a destroyer?" Admiral Zeth was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke again, his voice softer. "Council records show that the destroyer has killed millions of beings across the galaxy. How do we know this is not temporary?" "Because I am not the same person I was before," Kira answered. "For thousands of years I was alone with my curse. I had no hope, no purpose except to run and hide. But these humans showed me something I had forgotten." "What is that?" Admiral Zeth asked. That even the most broken person can be healed if someone is willing to reach out and help them. Amanda was studying the readings from the heart of Cryonis. Admiral, our scans show that Kira's power is now completely stable. The crystal is providing permanent balance. She is not a threat anymore. How? Can you be certain? Admiral Zeth asked. Jake looked at Kira and made a decision that surprised everyone. He let go of the metal rod and reached out to touch Kira's hand directly, skin to skin. Jake, no, Amanda shouted, but nothing bad happened. Jake's hand touched Kira's, and instead of freezing, his hand felt perfectly warm. The heart of Cryonis glowed brighter, and a feeling of peace filled the room. I am certain because I trust her, Jake said simply, and because humans do not give up on people, no matter how dangerous others think they are. Kira squeezed Jake's hand gently. For the first time in thousands of years, I can touch another living being without causing death. The heart has given me back what I thought was lost forever. On the Aurora Dawn, Lisa and the crew were watching the energy readings from Jake's connection to Kira. Instead of the dangerous spikes they had seen before, everything was calm and stable. Captain, Lisa said through her communicator, all our systems are running perfectly. Whatever you three are doing over there, it is working. Dr. Williams added, Jake's vital signs are completely normal. Actually, they are better than normal. It is like the connection to Kira is making him healthier. Engineer. Turner was studying the ship's power systems. We are getting a steady flow of clean energy from their connection. We could travel for years without needing to refuel. Admiral Zeth listened to all of this with growing amazement. The human is actually benefiting from contact with the destroyer? My name is Kira, she said firmly. And yes, the connection helps both of us. I get the warmth and control I need, and Jake gets energy that makes him stronger. It is a partnership, not a curse. The Council has protocols for dealing with dangerous beings, Admiral Zeth said, but we have no protocols for this situation. Amanda stepped forward. Then maybe it is time to create new protocols. Protocols based on understanding instead of fear. Jake nodded. Admiral, what if instead of trying to destroy Kira, the Council worked with her? Her power could help repair damaged worlds, provide clean energy, even terraform planets to support life. You are asking us to trust a being we have hunted for centuries, Admiral Zeth said. I am asking you to trust the evidence, Jake replied. Your own sensors show that Kira is helping, not harming. Your own ships are running better because of her power. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you were wrong. There was a long silence. Then Admiral Zeth's voice came through the communicator, sounding tired. Council fleet, stand down from attack positions. I am calling an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. What will you tell them? Kira asked. That the situation has changed. That perhaps we have been fighting the wrong battle for the wrong reasons. Amanda smiled. Admiral, would you like us to come to your ship so the Council can see the connection for themselves? That would be acceptable, Admiral Zeth said carefully. But the human stays connected to the destroyer at all times. Her name is Kira, Jake said. And yes, I will stay connected to her. It is not a burden anymore. It is a privilege. An hour later, Jake, Amanda, and Kira stood in the main meeting room of Admiral Zeth's flagship. Representatives from dozens of alien species watched as Jake held Kira's hand without any protection. The heart of Cryonis hung around Kira's neck, glowing softly. This is impossible, said a delegate from the Crystalline Confederation. We have records of the destroyer killing entire populations. That was before, Kira said sadly, when I had no control and no hope, but now I have both. She demonstrated by creating a small ice flower in her free hand. The flower glowed with warm light and filled the room with a pleasant scent. My people believed that power without control was destruction, Kira continued. But power with control and purpose can create miracles. A delegate from the Peaceful Traders Alliance spoke up. What do you want from us? Just a chance, Jake said. A chance to prove that cooperation works better than conflict, A chance to show that even the most impossible problems can be solved if people work together. Admiral Zeth looked around the room at his fellow council members. The humans have accomplished something we could not do in 1,000 years of trying. They turned our greatest enemy into an ally. Perhaps it is time we learned from them. What are you proposing? Asked the delegate from the scientific collective. A new approach, Admiral Zeth said. Instead of destroying what we do not understand, we try to understand it. Instead of attacking what we fear, we try to help it. Jake felt Kira's hand squeeze his gently. Through their connection, he could feel her hope growing stronger. The humans have shown us that endurance and compassion can succeed where force fails, Admiral Zeth continued. I propose that we invite both the humans and Kira to join the Galactic Council as full members. The room erupted in surprised voices. Some delegates protested, others seemed intrigued. But Jake noticed that many of them were looking at him and Kira with curiosity instead of fear. If I may, Kira said, her voice carrying clearly through the noise. The room fell silent. I understand your concerns. I have been a source of fear for thousands of years, but I promise you this. As long as I am connected to humanity, as long as I have their courage to draw from and their compassion to guide me, I will use my power only to help and heal. Jake nodded. And as long as humans are part of this council, we will always be willing to reach out to those who need help, no matter how dangerous it might seem. Admiral Zeth called for a vote. One by one, the delegates raised their hands in approval. It was not unanimous, but it was enough. Welcome to the Galactic Council, Admiral Zeth said, humans and Cryonians alike. 6 months later, Jake stood on the observation deck of the new Council research station. Through the window, he could see 3 dead worlds that Kira had brought back to life. Where once there had been frozen wastelands, now there were forests and oceans teeming with life. Kira joined him at the window, taking his hand as she did every day. The heart of Cryonis glowed softly around her neck, keeping their connection balanced and strong. Any regrets? She asked.